Hey, y'all. Thank you for joining today's stream. We are working on a online real-time trivia app built with Node.js, JavaScript, of course, Vue, Tailwind, and a bunch of other uh, technologies. And thank you, Hogswort Emo Dragon, for joining me. If there's happy Thursday, happy all hands on tech Thursday. Um, Thank you for joining. If this is your first time joining the stream, post a comment wherever you're watching, and let me know where you're coming from, and if there's any questions I can answer while we're on the stream today. Hello, thank you for joining, um, and let me know through today's stream if there's any questions I can answer for you. As always, you can ask me anything. I'm trying out some different banners and things to try to make these sessions a little bit more interactive. Got uh, some background music going on. Let me know if you like that or not. If it's distracting, hopefully that's not an issue. I wanted to work on writing some of my own background music. I play guitar and other instruments, and something that I love to do, and hope to do that for some future streams. But didn't get a chance to do that this past week. But hopefully do that soon. And let's see. Hey, welcome from Kuwait. Thank you for joining. That is really cool and awesome. Let's see. If you don't know me, my name is David Neal. I am a Principal Developer Advocate for Pluralsight, and my job is to help you be more awesome. I've been a software developer for, as you can tell, many years. I've got some experience doing a lot of things. I've learned a lot of lessons, usually the hard way. And, part of my mission in life now is to help folks wherever they are in their journey, learning new skills and new technologies. And we're kind of on this journey together. I love the fact that technology is changing all the time. So there's never a time when there's not opportunity to learn, right? It's amazing. That's why I still do what I do. I love programming. I love uh, digging into tech because it's always something new and interesting and exciting to find. Another person is joining from Egypt. That is incredible. It's so cool that through the power of technology, that you and I can connect from all parts of the world. That's the other thing about technology that continues to blow my mind is that it makes the world even smaller, right? So that folks can interact and learn from each other from all around the world. And that's why I am such a firm believer in the power of technology, that we have opportunities through things like this where we can share our knowledge and experience, and we never know if we may have an impact on someone that's in a few miles away, or hundreds of or thousands of miles away from where we are today. Technology gives us the ability to uh, to connect all around the world, including India. Thank you for joining. This is really, really cool. I'm glad to hear that so many folks have jumped in on the stream today. Well, um, like I said, my name is David Neal, and I My job is to help you be more awesome. So if there's anything that I cover in any of these streams that you have questions about, please drop a comment, ask a question. I'd be glad to try to answer those. And as far as like the theme of these streams go, we've been building a trivia game for the last several streams to learn some new things around building a Node.js application using Tailwind CSS, which is what we're going to be looking at more today. Socket.io for real-time communications, Fastify for building like the infrastructure and API for this app, and Vue on the front end. And there's lots of other technologies that we may end up digging into as we finish out this game over the next few sessions. So we're getting close to being done as far as the functionality goes. We could continue to add more and more features, maybe create a dashboard, create an admin screen, create, I don't know, there's lots of things we could do. If you have some opinions on that, something that might, a problem that we could solve in this game that could help you understand a concept or solve a problem that you have, that would be cool. Jeremy's telling me that my audio seems a bit overdriven today. Well, let me check to see. Okay. For whatever reason, the wrong microphone was selected. So, Jeremy, let me know if that's better. That should be better. And a question comes in from Hogswort Emo Dragon. Would you ever build something as expansive as Hogwarts Legacy? Could a game like this be as layered as an RPG? Well, I'm not familiar with Hogwarts Legacy. Let me do a quick Google here and find out what Hogwarts Legacy is. An immersive open-world action RPG set in the world first introduced in Harry Potter books. Well, solving that kind of problem where you're building a real-time role-playing game with lots of players from all over the world, that would be certainly a challenging problem to solve. I don't know that just me on my own, spending an hour a week on a stream, we could get very far on a game like that. But that would be really cool to build something like that. But I have never built something on that kind of scale as far as a game goes. I've built other applications that had hundreds and thousands of simultaneous users. So some of the scalability problems are probably, some of the same kinds of problems you would have to solve there. Jeremy says that the audio should be better. So good. Glad to hear that. And let's see. Question comes in. It's my first time on live broadcast. Can you give me a brief about it? New to this field, like to know more about where to start with basic JavaScript. Yeah, so we're building. Let me switch over. I can show you the application that we're building, and if you're interested, you can grab the source code for this app. Everything that we're building, I'm continuing to add to this repository. You can get that on my github.com account /reverentgeek/ahot-trivia-game. AHOT, of course, stands for All Hands on Tech. That's this show that is me and a colleague are doing through Pluralsight. So the game is an online trivia game. It can be played by 2 or more players, and is a timed game where you sign in with a gamer tag, and you answer as many trivia questions as you can in the time that's allotted. And there's some scoring involved, and a winner is declared when time is up. And if you want to check out the game, that is the source code. I'll switch over to my other screen here, and you can see. Let me. I've got the repository open. I'm using Visual Studio Code, and as far as where to get started with JavaScript, man, that is a good question, because there are a lot of free or nearly free resources that are available on the internet. I would definitely try to find more recent tutorials and articles. I used to work for a company where we produced a lot of tutorials on how to do like specific tasks in a language, and that's the way that I personally like to learn. Whenever I'm learning a new language or a new system, I'll try to think of a project, similar to us building this trivia game, and I will say this is the problem that I'm trying to solve, and how might I go about solving this problem? Start looking, to find articles, tutorials, introductions to building apps with that technology, to see if I could find a starting point. And I personally learned by doing something hands-on, and I would highly recommend solving a problem, like how to build a simple hello world app to start with, but then to start looking at building like an interactive form, or an integration, or a command line application. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with JavaScript, because you can build command line apps, you can build desktop apps, you can build web apps, do front end stuff. The options are limitless, only by your imagination. So find something that you're really passionate about, that you're interested in, and see if you can create an app around that thing that you enjoy. So for me, I geek out about, and more than just programming languages. I geek out about music, and guitars, and illustrations, and graphic design, and things like that. So some of the apps that I've built in the last few years to help learn things have been around like, well, what would it be like if I were to build a guitar inventory list app, so I could keep track of the instruments that I have, or the instruments that I want to have someday, or famous instruments. Should you be watching both streams? That's completely up to you. So my colleague Jeremy has been building a different kind of game on his channel on Tuesdays, and he's doing some like a side scroller type game, and that's a really cool, fun way to learn. I think it's Phaser, a JavaScript framework called Phaser that allows you to kind of gives you a good leg up on building a an arcade style game. Let's see. One comment is interactive integrate an API, fetching data, Axios. I'm a junior, need to learn a lot. It's a huge learning curve. Yeah, those are some important technologies and skills to learn to add to um, your repertoire, so to speak, of skills. I haven't We haven't spent a lot of time in this app building like APIs and using things like Axios. Um, and the reason is we're using a different approach. We're using Socket.io to do real-time communication. So it's a different approach to communicating between the client and the server. Typically, when you're building a web application, you're building an API that is callable from the front end, and you would use something like Axios to fetch data from those APIs or post data, new data back to the API. And there's all kinds of interesting problems to solve around that with, like, how do you secure those API endpoints? Using something like JSON Web Tokens, or are they public APIs, depending on the application that you're building. So there's all kinds of cool things to do there. I don't know that we'll get into, well, I take that back. If we continue to expand this application to include like a dashboard with maybe some features where an admin can do some things, or like download, look at data, look at results, maybe there's all kinds of things we could do. That may be a great candidate to building out an API in Fastify and using something like Axios to access those endpoints. So back to the game, is if this is your first time joining the stream, we've been building this game using Fastify, Socket.io, and using other technologies like Vue and Tailwind. These are the tasks, the initial tasks for like the MVP of the app that we've been working on. And we've got most of them checked off. And I think Reset Game is something that is already working. I'm not sure. We'll have to play the game real quick and see if there's the ability to do that. But what we haven't done yet, and what we will probably focus on today, is starting to make it look good. Right now, it's kind of pitiful. The technology is in place. We've got Tailwind. We've got the ability to add custom fonts. We've got, the ability to add custom CSS, all that, but we haven't gone through that exercise. So if you get the source code for this app, and again, I'll post that link here. It's at github.com/reverentgeek/ahot-trivia-game. If you grab that, in this README file, there are some dependencies. You'll want to install Node.js if you don't already have that. I would highly recommend that you use something like NVM to manage the versions of Node that are on your operating system. If you happen to be using Windows as your operating system, I would highly recommend that you get the Linux subsystem. for Windows installed and use that as your terminal for building Node.js applications like this. And that way you can use MVM on Windows, which is really great. So there's setup instructions in here. You can follow that when you get the source code. So I'm going to come over here, and one of the things I always like to do is kind of like housekeeping every time I return to a project that I haven't, maybe once a week or so, is check to see if there are any dependency updates. So I'll use npm outdated to give me a report of any dependencies that are outdated. And then I'll use npm update if I'm looking at that list and thinking, well, there's probably nothing there that's going to break the app. So ESLint is for JavaScript lint rules that keep our JavaScript healthy. Vue has gone from 3.2 to 3.3, and that's probably nothing to worry about there. Most mature packages are going to, except for major version updates, are going to, keep things pretty well backwards compatible. It's usually just incremental features or incremental bug fixes, right? And I'll run npm outdated one more time just to make sure that everything got updated. And then in this package JSON, we have a number of scripts defined. There's a build script, a dev script, a start script. Dev is what we've been using to run the game locally, and that includes the build step. So to do that, you use npm run command. So npm run dev will kick off that build and start the local web server that's listing on port 8080. So, like I said, the game is not really anything to look at yet, but that's hopefully we'll start solving that today. So right now the game is configured in source code to just be 2 players. That is configurable. So we'll start a new game. I'll start one player as Reverend Geek, and when I join the game, it says waiting, thanks for joining, waiting for other players to join. So until all players have joined the game, each player is going to be sitting there waiting. So I'll just say player 2. And now that both players have joined the game, there's a countdown, and then the game begins. The game right now is just a bunch of mock questions. We haven't put any real trivia questions into the game. And we're also cheating a little bit because we have a hint so that we know this is to help us with the scoring and everything, so we can test the game interactively. So the correct choice is 0, which is the first one. So each time I answer a correct question, I get 100 points. So right now, player 2 is at 200 points. And now I am at 300 points. If I answer incorrectly, 50 points are taken away. I'm at 350. The other player's at 200. And now the game ends. Game over. You won. Your score 350, and the other player, better luck next time, your score 200. So, and we have a way of starting a new game. So the game is functional, but there's still a lot of work to be done as far as making it look nicer, look more fun and engaging. And one of the things we want to do as far as functionality goes is maybe show the other players' scores on this final screen. The data's there. We just haven't actually created any stuff for it. All right. So here comes the I guess the challenge, because to be honest, one of the reasons why we haven't focused much on the front end in a while is I haven't done a lot of front end styling in a while. I've done, in the past, I have done lots and lots of web applications, websites, CSS, all the kinds of things that you might do, but it's been a while for me. And Tailwind is a fairly new technology to me. I've used it on a couple of projects, so you'll have to bear with me because we're going to be learning some of this stuff together to try to figure out. I do have a few tips in my notes from things that I've done on other apps that I can, draw some ideas from. But for the most part, we're gonna just try to figure some of this stuff out together. One of the reasons I like Tailwind is it's not too far of an abstract away from CSS. Tailwind is awesome if you understand some CSS in the and Tailwind helps you to apply CSS styles in a consistent way that just makes it easier than creating raw CSS. I mean, every framework ought to be that, right? It's a trade-off in how much granular control you may have versus how fast you can go. And Tailwind is kind of on the side of it's very granular. It gives you a lot of control over how you can style things, but at the same time, it saves you time in mocking out ideas. So what can we do for inspiration for our game? If you have maybe some design templates that you personally like is there a website that you use for coming up with design ideas? If you do have something that you enjoyed, put that in the comments and we'll explore that together. I'm going to see web game design salary. That would be cool. Web or game design templates. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff, and it's can be scary just to look for any kind of arbitrary. So one thing I'm noticing is in a lot of these games is there's a lot of dark theme stuff. I'll tell you what I like, because I do a lot of illustrations and things, and I like for them to be fun and cartoonish. I kind of like the design of Jackbox and the way they do some of their silly things. So, Jackbox games. I'm just looking for like maybe some screenshots of what their games look like. Because it really varies from game to game. I like the little characters that show up in some of their games. So, Drawful is one of my favorite games. I like the way that orange background looks with the black text. I think that Drawful looks a lot like that too. Some of their games, Quiplash has a spiral kind of background. So trivia games. That's interesting. Trivia games, we got like this text in a frame, along with the choices that are like bubble style buttons. Same with this stuff. These are really bright colors. I like that. I like the cartoonish characters. Bright colors. What do cows drink? Those are trick questions, right? All right. So I think, just based on this, what I've seen so far, I'd love to use some bright colors. Something like this blue or green background, and using some bright frames to present the trivia questions, having some bright buttons to click on. That makes it, friendly and fun. Whereas, some of the other multiplayer games and some of the other screenshots we were seeing at first were like, action games, and those are all dark and brooding and serious and sinister, scary, a lot of times. All right, so where do we start? Man, let's start by setting a good background color for the entire screen. And how might we do that? So we have our components. We have this public folder. We have our individual components in this components folder, and then the client itself is in this this component is like the main component that loads in the other components and keeps track of the state and so forth. And we can put styles on these other components. We can put styles inside the other components. But the stuff that gets sent down to the browser, that's found in the source folder. Under client, we have fonts and game. These are the ones that are part of Tailwind where we're declaring some of the base styles, the base fonts, and the view index.html. This is like the game, like it's like the frame, the base HTML for the application. So the body for the page, that's what we need to focus on to get that background color. So let's see. One thing, you think, trying to think of some, looking through my notes and other games that I've done. Let's see. The body is going to be see what this container is. Container. We'll put that on the app here. And we'll make the container itself full. And full means like 100% width. Margins auto. So that means, whatever's inside the container will get centered on the screen. If this is what I'm thinking of. So minimum height. I think this will set the height of the screen. And let's say BG. This is where we can do like a color. And we'll say a sky 300. Let's see what this looks like. So the game is set up such that, or not the game, but the project is set up. If we go back and look at this package JSON, this dev script that we run, npm run dev, this launches the app using NodeMon. NodeMon is a monitor service. It monitors the files in the project for any changes. And if any changes to the JavaScript, HTML, CSS, any of that is detected, it automatically restarts the service. So, it detected a change, it rebuilt, meaning it also detected any changes to like the CSS that we included. So the Tailwind goes through like this process of looking for class names to include in the final build output. And we don't see any changes because we haven't refreshed the browser. The service automatically restarted. But if I do Command R, we now see that the container is blue. Well, I'd really like for the whole page to be this blue background. So let's go back and let's put this BG sky on the body. That looks better. And let's also maybe set MX Auto here. No. This text that we have right now, I probably want to change this anyway. It's probably going to be a graphic that we're going to use. I was just looking at my screen over here. It looks like the sky blue coming across on the stream is looking a little bit more green than blue. I don't know if that looks green to you or cyan in color, but it's looks to be a nice sky blue on my screen. So inside this app, or inside this container, I'd like for the container to be like a white color. So there's like this blue background, and it should be responsive. Let's see. Yeah, if I shrink it down, it continues to, find these breakpoints. Let's say MX Auto. Let's increase the margins in the body. See what that looks like. Maybe I should be using padding. That's the same effect. What happens if I use MX Auto here? No changes. So I want this, I think what I'll do is I'll move this AHOT trivia game into the client component. So the template, and this may actually get moved into like the home, or duplicated across some of these other ones, so that when the game is being played, it has a different design. Matter of fact, we may turn the game header into a couple of different components so that we can have a bigger one that's got graphics and everything. And then when the game is being played, we have a smaller one that's maybe in the corner. Let's see what this looks like now. Yeah, so a hot trivia game. Let's also add some margins to the top and bottom, maybe. So MY, that means top and bottom. Let's make that 8. Maybe we'll just do the top, MT. Okay. And let's add some padding in here. Let's say padding. If we just use P by itself, then that's like overall padding. So P4 adds padding there. Oh yeah, turquoise. That's the color. That's what's coming across on the stream, I think. If I look at the preview, I don't know why the color is getting changed like that. We got a pill-shaped button here for start a new game. We can make that better. That's going to be in this home component. So we got this BG slate. So instead of slate, let's make it something nice and bright. Try to get IntelliSense to help us. There we go. Control space brings up our IntelliSense. And let's pick maybe a green. Information about the game. Test your knowledge against other players. Who will be the winner? Maybe you. Let's see. Let's play around with maybe a border. Border spacing, border solid. Like a dark orange and a B background color. Of a light orange. padding of maybe 6. So maybe instead of home, let's say welcome. Text. Margin. Well, already looking better. I mean, it's not going to win any awards, that's for sure. But let's see. How can we... Text center, I think. Got that centered. How do we center a button on the page? Is it object center? No. Centering stuff, you know, it's always been a challenge no matter what framework you use. So let's start diving into some documentation. Tailwind, CSS, center button. See what comes up. How to center a button in Tailwind in a div. It's like, man, I feel that pain. I've done all the things, right? Justify center. Let me bump this up so maybe you can read it too. Right? You've probably, if you've done any kind of CSS with Tailwind, you've probably gone through this same pain where you're like, I've tried all these things. Why is it not working? So this answer says, I suggest to use flex call item center on the container to center children across the Y axis. Oh, so they're doing flex. Let's see what happens when we do put this on the main container. Or maybe we just do it here. Maybe we say div class equals container. I don't know if nesting containers is a good or bad practice, or if there's any issue with that when it comes to Tailwind, if that's something you should do or shouldn't do. But we'll see. So refresh. Cool. I kind of like that. Using the flex Yeah, we changed the different widths. That seems to, keep everything centered. I like that. So maybe that's the solution. Let's do something fun. Well, gosh, it's almost at time. And just starting to scratch the surface, just starting to get fun, right? I want to try something. I've got some notes here on adding some animation. I don't even know if this will work, but I want to try it. In the theme, you can define all kinds of custom stuff. So far, all we have in here is like we've customized the fonts that we're using, and we're using the Montserrat font to make it look better, more fun looking. So the other things you can do is extend not just the font family, but add custom colors, custom transitions. And what I want to do is add some animation stuff. So I'm going to create a custom block here for keyframes and define a keyframe of wiggle. And inside here, we're going to use from 0 to 100% transform is rotate -3 degrees. %, transform, rotate 3 degrees. Now I don't know this by memory. I'm going based on some notes that I took on another app that I've got. So keyframes, defining the wiggle, and then an animation block. We're also going to define the same wiggle, and it is going to use the wiggle keyframe. It's going to last for 2 seconds, and it'll be a linear, ease in, out, and infinite. It's going to just continue to loop. And I think if this does what I think it'll do, let's just try it on the welcome here. We're going to say animate wiggle. It worked. I don't understand it. I'd like to dig into it and understand, how this does what it does. But our welcome is now wiggling very slowly. That's fun. All right. So we're pretty much at time. I'm going to add all the stuff we've done so far. Push that to the repository. If you want to get the source code for this repository, check it out on github.com/reverendgeek/ahot-trivia-game. And for just a few more minutes, I'd like to let you know, again, thank you for hanging out with me today. We're just starting to scratch the surface with Tailwind and CSS. Expect more of this to come in the next streams. I have my iPad ready to go, so on the next one, we'll create some graphics. We'll create some fun stuff, and add some images, and who knows, maybe some cute characters or something to add to the game. Some avatars for players to use when they play the game. And we'll continue to style it and make it look better, and then we'll go from there. Any questions, you can contact me. I am Reverend Geek on just about everything. Reverend Geek on Twitter and Instagram, and reverendgeek.com is my website. There's ways you can contact me if you have a question that falls outside of this stream. Let me know. And again, thank you for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and hope to see you again on the next All Hands on Tech with your host, David Neal, Developer Advocate for Pluralsight. My job is to help you be more awesome. So if there's anything I can do for you, you please let me know. And hope to see you again soon. Bye now.